Hey there, how's it going? It is Maestro here, and welcome back to episode 4 of Road to Endgame. Here are the goals that we're working towards for our early game. Everything that's crossed off is things that we've done in our previous episodes, so make sure to check back if you want to see any of that progress. And make sure to like and subscribe and leave any comments with any feedback or suggestions you might have for the series. Now let's get into it. To start off this episode, we are going to be going for our Cape of Awe. At the end of last episode, we farmed for our Blade of Awe, and we obtained that. So as you see right at the beginning, I purchased the Legends Awe Pass, which you need the Blade of Awe to purchase, and it's totally free, and AC tagged, so that can stay in your inventory. And it opens up the quest for the Armor of Awe. The easiest one to get is the Cape of Awe, and that one's going to be the most useful to us because it gives a 25% boost to reputation, gold, experience, and class points. So it's good to always have equipped so we could get those extra bonuses. And the way that you get that is you accept the quest and kill Binky in /join Doom Vault. It is a 100% drop chance, so you don't have to worry about that, though the boss is very challenging, so I moved to Arctics and found a room with a bunch of people in it who were able to help me take down the boss. To access this area, you do have to do a few short quests, but they're just killing low-level monsters, and it shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes to get here. So here you can see Cape Found, and I was able to turn that into Valencia, and I was able to claim my Cape of Awe. So here I am merging the pieces. You need the Cape Relic, which is bought in the shop from, I think, the Cape Fragment, and then you are able to, just like that, create your Cape of Awe. The next thing we're going to be doing in this episode is we are going to be doing a little bit more of the story. So in the episode before, we finished Mobius and Dwarfhold. So in my opinion, we got the two most boring ones out of the way, at least for a while. And we moved on to the next one, which is the Yokai storyline. The story's okay in this one, but I really like the areas and the mobs. I like that in every little area, there's kind of a shrine at the end that tells you the sort of lore of the monsters and how they came to be. I don't know if it has anything to do with actual, Asian lore, but it is pretty cool that they offered to leave that in. So, the first thing you do in the Yokai storyline is you fight in the Dragon Koi tournament, I think it's called, and you fight against all these Mimi sort of AQ Worlds versions of fighting game characters. So, there's Ryu and, what's his name from Mortal Kombat? Scorpion, I think, Pikachu, and all these other guys. And they all have sort of Mimi kind of lines that they say after they're killed. Most of these bosses are super easy, especially since I'm already level 31 from our other sort of activities that we've done so far. So this really didn't take that long using the Chaos Slayer class, because at the moment that's really the best soloing class I have, and it's a pretty good one. So these fights were pretty dang easy. And after I beat everyone in the tournament, I am crowned the Dragon Koi champion, and the princess is able to ask you for help in her quest against the Chaos Lord. So the next part is in, I guess it's like the Royal Tower, where you are fighting the samurai and the ninja, to help out the princess and get some information on what the Chaos Lord is planning. Moving on, this is where one of the areas where it sort of explains the lore of the monsters, and it's also a really nice looking area, even though the monsters are kind of weird looking. They're these like raccoon panda dog things. But again, super easy stuff, and I think the reason that I like the yokai storyline a little more than some of the others is it doesn't like keep you around in one area for too long. Most of the things are just like 2 or 3 quests in an area, so you're kind of able to explore the area and learn about the mobs, and then you're able to just move on to the next area. Especially because the story as a whole is pretty short. It only takes around 20 to 30 minutes. Well, maybe longer than that. Maybe like 45 minutes to complete. Moving on from the bamboo forest, the next area is the junkyard. And all these mobs are just like everyday objects. Well, I don't know if you'd call a harp and a lamp everyday objects. Well, a lamp, like a street lamp, everyday objects. But from what I remember, they are like the outcast objects. And the reason they are hostile is because they're like angry that they were cast away into the dump. Yeah, so I think it's kind of a cool looking area. But the mobs are kind of weird looking, and they drop some really weird equipment. So if you ever want to have any of these as a pet following around, come to /join junkyard, and you can get a umbrella with is that a tongue sticking out of its mouth, and it's also on fire. The next area that we come to is the river, and we make some sushi because I'm not sure, but as you can see throughout this video, whenever we come to an area where I encounter undead monsters, with AQ Light, it tells you above the monster's head, and when you click on them, what kind of monster they are. I'm going to use the Paladin class because its 4 skill deals a bunch of extra damage to undead enemies. As you can see, even though I'm only doing like 200 damage per regular auto attack, when I crit with my 4 skill, I'm doing upwards of 3,000 damage. So it's really useful for farming in areas like this with undead monsters. And throughout the yokai storyline, there are a few undead monsters as well as chaos monsters. So here's the chaos beast here, Odukuru or something like that. I can't quite pronounce it, but making sure that you switch to your K-Eruptor Unlocked, which we obtained in our last episode, which is a sword that deals plus 50% damage to chaos. And because that'll make these fights go by a lot quicker. So using my Daemon class to solo that one really quick. And then he actually doesn't quite end up dying, and is, we have to kill his head over again. Also, one thing to note about this area is it has the world's laggiest cutscene. After this fight right here, you are like climbing up a river of like monsters pouring out of a portal that he summoned. And oh my goodness, it's like 1 frame per second. It took like, I don't know, 30 or 40 seconds to actually go through the cutscene. I skipped it in the video because obviously it's not that interesting to watch, but I thought that was funny. And here is the battle with the Chaos Lord Kitsune. I actually ended up getting his sword at the end of it, which is kind of cool. I think I ended up deleting it eventually, but I used it for a while. This is a pretty easy fight. Well, really easy. It's pretty basic. No special mechanics, except that when he turns into this fox form that you see him, he takes no damage and he attacks a little bit faster. But he never really does that much damage in the end, so it shouldn't be that too difficult of a fight. It just kind of extends it out a little bit. And as far as the usefulness of this area later on, you will end up needing rank 10 yokai to get the Yamino Ronin class later on, which is a relatively endgame class, very dodge heavy. So we will end up eventually getting that. So it is nice to collect the reputation from here. And it is also used, part of the story is used as a prequest to get Sepulchre's Doom Knight armor. So just making sure that we do those little side quests as well. Right after this, the yokai storyline that is, I It didn't really take that long, so I decided I would do a little bit more lore. So I came to Darkoviya, which is the next area on the map. If you go to your map at the bottom of your screen and you hit, I think it's story or lore tab, whichever it is, it tells you the Chaos Lords in order, and you're able to easily navigate to all the quest lines. And this one was kind of important because we do have the Lycan class on our bucket list or our goals list for the early game. It is a pretty good class, actually, for the majority of the game. It's a really, really great PvP class, and it's also a pretty top-tier soloer. So you will see me using that quite a bit in the later episodes, at least for the early game. But before that happens, you need to complete around 2/3 of the story to unlock the Lycan area. And you're able to access some quests that give you some reputation, as well as the shop where you can buy the class. So again, dual purpose in completing the storyline, as well as unlocking some prerequisites to get some items later down the line. So this is the first area where you're talking to Shadow Slayer Z, I think her name is, completing her quest real quick. Then you enter the vampire area, and the premise of this story is that the vampires and the werewolves are at war. It's, one of those kind of stories. And then Wolfwing, who is eventually the Chaos Lord, is a werepire, so he is a little bit of both. And he has been sort of pitting the factions against each other for a while. And in the end, we have to kind of unite the two factions to take down the Chaos Lord, even though we do all the work. So I don't really know why we have to unite them. But oh well. The quest line doesn't really take that long. This is another one of the short story segments, probably around 30 to 45 minutes again. So we are in the final stages of the story here. We're entering the werepire lair, where Wolfwing is, who is the Chaos Lord. And he's trying to summon I think it's a Draco werepire or something like that, is the Chaos Beast for this area. So in a moment, we will be up against them. And again, making sure to use our damage boosting weapons and the classes we have obtained along the way. You can see me using Chaos Slayer a lot. And here's the Draco werepire I was talking about. Pretty easy fight, no special mechanics or anything like that. You can see me turning on my music right there. I don't know what I was listening to. Maybe some Kanye West, something like that. I have been sort of going back through some old, well, I don't know if you'd call that old, but music that I, haven't listened to in a few years during quarantine, since I'm sure sort of, there's not that much stuff coming out. Gunna released a new album, which was I was never really a big fan of Gunna and things like that, so I've been going back to Kanye West and a few other guys and listening to their music as I am farming, because I really don't play with the sound on in the game all that much, unless there's a cutscene that I actually want to pay attention to and listen to. Then sometimes I'll pause the music for a moment and turn the sound on for that. But mostly the thwacks and the whams, whatever, the crits and things is a little too much to listen to for hours and hours on end. But anyways, here we are finally up against the Chaos Lord, which is Wolfwing here. This is also another easy fight. Most of the Chaos Lords are pretty easy because they were made way before the level cap was raised to 100, so they're mostly around in between, starting at level 40, sort of going upwards to maybe level 55. Maybe Ultra Ultion is a little bit more challenging than that, but basically his mechanics is that when he gets below 30 or 25% health, he ends up going berserk and he gains max haste. And that's pretty much it. But we choose to destroy him here, and Shadow Slayer Z, or whatever her name is, shoots an arrow through his, right in between his eyes. And then there's this weird cutscene where there's like his eyes show up in his little chaos dust, but we never ever see him later on in the story. So it's kind of a weird thing to put. And this is where I sort of stray off the path from our goals a little bit. I decided that I really wanted like a top tier farming class. We had some good farming classes. We had Daemon and Chaos Slayer. But I really just wanted something that I could kind of brainlessly farm with a little bit, because those classes have a few mana issues, or also with the Chaos Layer, you have to make sure you're not making your enemies super strong, because it has the option to actually buff your enemies instead of debuffing them. So what I decided to do was I farmed swag tokens for about an hour to get rank 10 Embassy, since in an earlier episode we got rank 10 Doomwood. And those are two of the requirements to get the Blazebinder class. The other requirement is to have the Pyromancer class. So what I ended up doing was I bought the Pyromancer class for 2,000 ACs from the class shop instead of doing the daily quests to farm it, since it takes a little while. Sorry, I had to visit my bank really quickly. And what you can actually do is you can merge... you can use the Pyromancer to buy the items needed for the Blazebinder, and then you can sell the Pyromancer back within 24 hours to get 80% of your adventure coins back, or 90%, I think it is. Because I bought it for 2,000 ACs, and you'll see me here. I actually buy backups just in case I accidentally sell it. But you can see me selling my Pyromancer class here for 1,800 adventure coins. So it's only a net loss of 200 adventure coins for a top tier farming class. So that's actually going to end up being where we end off today's episode. Sorry we didn't accomplish as much as we usually do in these episodes. However, we did cross a few things off of our list, and we really set ourselves up for success in the next few episodes and the next few weeks down the line. So I would really appreciate if you dropped a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment with any suggestions or things you're excited for in the next episodes, because I do have a bunch of footage that I'm really excited to get ready to use, where we make a ton of progress in the next few episodes. So hopefully I will see you all there. But for now, I'm going to end it off here, and hopefully I will see you all in the next episode. Bye!